Hey, everybody, I am live streaming the podcast today. So if you are catching this on our Spotify and where our Jen Lowry podcast goes out, if I'm going to be making some strange hello comments throughout, I'll just say, oh, someone's joined us in the chat, just kind of give you a heads up. But it just might be me talking to you, and that's okay too, because you can always catch this on the replay. That's why I love doing podcasts and videos and just sharing out talks about what I love, and I loved our query pitch event. So that's what this one's about. So if you are joining us, let me know if you are in the process of querying to a publishing company, or if you've just started, typing up that query letter for the first time. Or you may say, well, I'm an author, but I don't know what a query is. Well, you're at the right place, because that's what we're going to be focusing on today as I share about our event. So we did have one. It was a closed event, and I will say I felt it was pretty successful. I was able to meet some really wonderful authors. I got to hear pitches live for our company, and some of our monarchs popped in. Some of my author friends were there to celebrate and cheer on those who had that courage to be there. Guys, it takes something to be able to just be out in front of strangers talking about your book. I get it, right? I talk about my monarchs more than I talk about my own books. And I say that with all sincerity of how proud I was of everybody that joined us for that event, even for those who were just kind of hanging out with us and checking it out. I hope that it was valuable for you. So, what is a query pitch event? Well, it's a place where you get to pop in and you get to actually have, like for us, we did 2-minute rounds, just so in case you're wondering. And I actually just used my clock. It was like, okay, 2 minutes, timer, let's go. And the 2-minute timer goes off. Then it's my turn. And I hit the 2-minute timer. And then it gave me an opportunity to share some on the spot feedback. And I had closed up the tickets the night before, and I will tell you guys why. Because I needed like printed copies of these things. Like I got a stack of them right here. It's a pretty big stack. I printed off each one of the one-page queries, and I went through those, and I made preliminary notes prior to the event. So I did my research. I checked out all of the authors. If they provided social media links, I was there checking out what they were up to, following as many of them as I could before the time ran out for me to then hop in and do our private closed event. Other people were emailing me like, well, can we record it? Can we see that? And the reason why I say no is because that was a very personal event, right? Those are opportunities for people to jump in there and be able to showcase their work. And some of the queries, like they had addresses and things on there, but I didn't show them. I was like, no, I'm not. At first I was like, I'll show things on the screen, but then I was like, nope, no, I'm not. I'm holding them. But it's just felt very necessary to have that as a closed event. And we're going to continue to hold those at Monarch. We absolutely love those private Zoom events. My Zoom account holds 100. So that's why if you see on Eventbrite, like our event for tonight, it holds 100 seats. So there's 99 seats available for you guys. And I hope that you can get on and get a ticket for that today if you're catching us on the live stream. It is July 25th. 2023, and those tickets will close at 7 o'clock tonight, and that's a meet and mingle with Monarch event with Eventbrite. So if you go on there, get your ticket, it's going to send you your Zoom link. You'll be able to hop in, and we're going to do some networking breakout room rounds tonight. So I was really excited about the query pitch. So a query is a one-page letter that you are going to showcase what your book is about, provide us information about who you are and why this book matters. And I want you to do your research. First and foremost, when you're doing a query letter, make sure that the agent that you're querying, now, so this is for anybody who's out there querying an agent or a publishing company that accepts unsolicited manuscripts where you do not have to have an agent, make sure that your work aligns with that person's, what they're looking for, or something about them that they may highlight in their bios, or maybe some of the other books that they've published. You can see some similarities or some threads. You can say, oh, this might be a person who might have that kind of magic feeling when they open up my query. So, number one, always do your research. I'm going to say that over and over again, probably today, because I'm sitting here just talking out without any pretty much notes except the things that I took on these query letters. So, do your research. I absolutely loved it when queries started with something that they had found that I'd said on the website, or they mentioned another author that they've read their book, or that they've connected with a particular author on Twitter, for example. I had people like dropping some of the Monarch names in queries. I thought that was really cool because at least they were like, okay, I'm going to invest some time to see what other authors are out there. So while you're researching a company, does that mean you have to read every single book that they have under the sun? No, it doesn't mean that. However, it does mean that you should pay close attention to the types of books that they release and go out and follow their authors. You may meet your next best writing buddy out there. Who knows? So it wouldn't be like time wasted when you're discovering new authors, especially those in that debut world, because you may be there too one day soon. So that's just one tip too about connecting with people in the company. Another thing, start off right away with your queries. So this is for me. This is the Jen Lowry way. Okay, this is the Monarch way. Letting me know about the genre, the word count. Of course, put your title in there and just give me those quick blast sentences about the themes, the concepts that are going to be explored. And you can start right in with the characters' conflict. That's perfectly fine. And you can say, this is what they're up against, and this is how they're solving it. And yes, that means a spoiler, and it's okay because if I ask for your full, I'm going to read the whole thing anyway. And if you're giving me that synopsis, then you're going to give me that full landscape of your three acts. You're going to give me that in very short form, of course, but you're going to give me the ending. So just throw it on out there. Love to see that. I also would recommend that you put your word count in there. If you have multiple POVs, those are just some common things that I see across queries that I would just encourage you to do that as well. Of course, you're giving me your book blurb. So just imagine what you see on the back of a book that's your favorite book, or a Barnes and Noble description that they have on their website, or that's your book blurb. That is your introduction to the world that you've created. I also love it when authors drop comp titles. It's important. And you know what? You can also say, if you've seen this show or this movie recently, if it has that similar vibe to it, that's okay too. For me, it is anyway. But I love it when authors take the time to know what is out there that represents kind of what they're going for, and that they are aware of what's in the marketplace in their space. So think about things that are current. And I know that I get a lot of queries that will mention Narnia. If you're a fantasy writer, I get that. I understand why you do that. I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm saying add new things too. And you're building my list. So I really love it when clean reads authors reach out to me and then they give comp titles that are clean read comps. So what am I talking about clean reads all of a sudden? Well, for those of you who know me, I'm a clean reads author and a publisher. That means that we have specific standards of what we're looking for in books, and we list those on our website. I've got it scrolling down at the bottom. If you are watching the video version of this podcast, monarcheducationalservices.com is the name of our website, and I give those clean read standards. So I want you to think about Common Sense Media. If you've never used that site, I would suggest that you just pull it up and you look at Common Sense Media and you type in some of your, the most popular books or movies, and you will be able to see how those ratings are set up. You can also go to like IMDb and you can scroll down and you can look at parent guides. And when we are filtering and watching and thinking about books to read, we're always going to Common Sense Media, or we're moving to those parent guides. We also have those parent guides or those content rating guides listed on our website too for our novels, because we think it's very important for people to know what type of concepts they're going to be reading about or what type of hard topics they may be encountering before they purchase the book and invest that money and time into a book. So I think it's important that you understand that as we read queries and as we read submissions, we do have a clean reads policy. So we may make note of that to you. We may comment to that on that with your manuscript, and just understand that that's who we are as a publishing company. That also means that there are tons of other publishing companies out there that may fit your particular style of writing or the topic that you're trying to convey. So I continue to encourage you to go out and do your thing and find places that work and align with you. So that's going back again to the thing I was going to say, I was going to talk about all day, which is that research part, right? All right. Something that I want to encourage all of you to do is build a writing community. And I often have people to ask me, well, when should I start doing that? I'm querying right now. There's not really much to do or say. Let me just tell you guys this. And for those of you who are in this world, you're going to just say hallelujah when I say this. The author world is always filled with wonderful things that you can be doing and saying. You can be shedding some positive encouragement, some positive light out there on social media, and you can find other like minded authors that write in your genre, that, maybe they're kidlit authors and you just want to align yourself in that kidlit space. You can connect with librarians and educators and homeschool moms and homeschool families and organizations that you believe in that might align with your book. Like, go ahead and do those things the day the idea hits you. And when you're doing that, work on that branding so it's very easy for people to understand who you are, what you believe in, what you love, and then you go after that. And just make it easy for people to find you. So I loved it. I did have a few that sent me a Linktree. I love Linktree. I don't pay for Linktree. I use the free version. I have authors who use the paid plans and they can get people to subscribe right there. They got some really cool features on Linktree. So check out which plan works for you. But I would encourage you to check out Linktree because it was really easy for me to click in there and then just hit boom, 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 and go all the way down. I did not have to start just kind of like manually typing in things or going back and forth to that query letter and seeing, well, where was this at when they said this? Now let me type it in because it was not hyperlinked. So I think the link trees are a really cool idea. I know I like that anyway. So, share out your website and you can have a basic website that has your contact me, who you are, what you're currently working on. You're in the query trenches. That's what I see sometimes people say. And just talk about you and what you're currently reading. Connect your different socials there where people can start build a community with you. Start your blog there and have some blog posts already up and about that could showcase your writing. Maybe you write some poetry. Add a couple of poetry pieces on there. Maybe you do some book reviews and book recommendations, or maybe you have, a podcast where you interview authors. You just haven't, published your own book yet, but you love connecting with authors. Put those things down that you do that involves you in the writing community. So I'll give you that advice. So start that today if you haven't, and add your links. So if you don't want to do Linktree, that's perfectly fine, but add your links to queries, especially if someone asks for that. And that's something that's on my guidelines. I specifically ask. All right. So now let me see. Oh, if you have any writing credentials, that's something else I want to talk about. So you may not have a background in writing. You may not have degrees. That's okay. If you do, list those out. If you have been in publications before, list it out. If your book is currently self-published, please let the agent or the publishing company know that on your query letter. and let them know where you stand with that. Many may ask you, well, how many did you sell, and what makes you believe that it's going to transfer over now that you've done this? What's your next step with this? Are you just currently working on something new? Like, just consider, adding those specific things in your query to let your person know that if it is self-published, and what are your plans moving forward. If it's with another company, then what about your rights? So you have to think about things like that as you're querying out. So SCBWI for all of my K-12 people. Okay, I'm just going to put this in the chat like really big. SCBWI. Join it. Join it. They have great resources, great online communities. You can do local things, state things. Guys, it's so cool to get involved with your communities. So I would say join organizations that best align with your genre. So, Stephanie's a member. Hey, Stephanie, good to have you here. So what I was noticing on some of the queries, people were not listing maybe what they were a member of, what organizations or writing groups did they belong to. So I would encourage you that near the end, when you're giving out your bio, to always include some of those heavy hitter pieces. And then if you lead one, like if you lead a local writing group or something like that, put that in there too. So I think that having that there just allows someone to be able to say, okay, they're invested in the community in which they are going to be serving, and they're going to be connecting with authors also in those spaces. So I think that's super important. Okay, I am coming through. Now I'm going to flip through some of the queries. If you've got any questions, I see that Stephanie's here. So good to see you, Stephanie. So guys, if you want to ask me anything, I'm right here. Oh, other things I love. Now let me talk about the Jen love here, okay? Query Jen love. I love it when you give me a little part about why your book matters. What is it that really stood out to you when the idea hit you? Where did it come from? Maybe it's to honor someone. Maybe it's to showcase something that's important to you. I think that that's really a impact statement that anyone needs to add to query. It does matter to me. And that's because the books that we publish, we hope that they'll be able to reach audiences and in new ways, but ways that also can provide healing and hope and encouragement. So books matter to us and our company. And we are, of course, a new company, but we've got to be very highly selective. We have to make sure that it fits our collection. If we only have one book a month that we're trying to produce here, y'all can do that math, and I've got some Caterpillar books too in the works. But for Monarch, middle grade, and YA, we only have a certain amount of slots a year. So telling me your story and being positive out there on social media and really trying to build that platform around hope and light, that aligns with us. So sharing a little bit about your family, that doesn't hurt too. If that's something that, I've got one I'm sitting here right here, and they're talking about creating relatable female protagonists so that their girls have those, role models to look up to and things like that. So I'm just throwing that one in there. I just happened to catch that. Funny that somebody, and they've emailed me again today, but I called somebody's name out the other day in a query. I actually printed this author named Mike. So Mike, I don't know if you ever see this in the world, but I printed your query. I've got it right here. And I called your name out in there. I was like, oh, Mike's coming today. And Mike didn't come. But Mike wasn't coming. Mike didn't have a ticket. It's hilarious. I know. But anyway, loved Mike's query. And he just started out, this is, who I am. This is how it blends together. Gave the comp titles right away. Target age reader. Just absolutely love the way that stuff starts out. I know that's very typical to queries. All right. So I'm moving. Oh, if you are writing an SEL book, and I gave this tip out in our closed event, Tell why you have that space on your mind, and what background do you have with social emotional learning? What type of endeavors do you do in that arena? So that's important. I gave them some advice on that one. If you've ever been in contest, share those. Those are fun. Oh, look, we have Stacy Bartlett. Stacy, it's your birthday. What are you doing watching the podcast? One of our monarchs, she's here. Stacy, happy birthday. Absolutely love you. I hope you are celebrating with family today. I told you this morning, have the kids give you just a huge big bear hug from us at Monarch. I hope they tackle you with a big hug. Um, Stacy is going to be joining us on her birthday, no less, for our meet and mingle tonight. We are having that closed private Zoom event, 100 tickets. We're about 50 right now, so it's really cool. So, like 50 slots left. If you guys want to grab one, you can get one. But Stacy is our YA author of Free Sings the Sea, and we just got her for Monster Mountain middle grades. So, Stacy, love you. Love your work. All right. So now I am moving. Oh, one. If it says something is attached, and if there is, oh, love you. Big hug back. Love you. If there is a submission guideline that says no attachments, please, then don't attach. So it's important that you read submission guidelines, because there are many people out there who will not open attachments. They want things in the body of an email. Now, if I ask for your full, or if I'll ask for more material, I like to provide feedback, on the spot feedback, where people can see that work on a Google Doc. I will ask you for the Google Doc link, not Word, where I have to then reopen it in Google Docs, because then it becomes my copy and you don't get to see the notes I'm leaving you. So if that happens and I do ask for something, give me the link directly into your Google Doc, so that way you and I can provide have some dialogue together as I'm reading through your manuscript. So no attachments. And that might be the case for a lot of people. But I've had attachments in the past, just to give you guys a heads up. And it's better that you don't if someone asks for that. All right. So now I'm looking if there's any others that stand out to me. I think I've covered everything that I would like to cover. And yep, I went through all of my notes. If you've got new books in the works, that's one last thing. Okay, I just saw that in my notebook. So I keep my journal beside me at all times, guys. I hope you do too. I mean, it's just, I can't tell you. And my journal is like a purple comp notebook. Like, seriously, it's too big. It's too big. My 5 stars already filled up. Moving on. So I want to encourage you to also let me know if you're working on other projects. So I'm going to give a special shout out to Mark Snowd right now. He is our Maggie in the Mountain of Light. And when Mark queried, he queried for a different title. And I know the title of the book still to this day. I know what it's all about. I read it and I loved his writing style. He is absolutely hilarious. And I adore Mark Snowd's author voice. I love his character development. And I said, well, there's such great work here, but it's just not right for Monarch right now. And I gave feedback and I said, do you have anything else? And he said, well, I'm paraphrasing Mark. I wish I could do it in that New Zealand accent he's got. Well, let me just say that I got one, and it's Maggie, and it honors my daughter. And he went on about Maggie, and I said, send me Maggie. And Maggie made it. And I love Maggie in the Mountain of Light, and I love Mark Snowd's work. And I'm continuing to encourage him to work on that other piece too. So hopefully Mark is seeing this. He knows it. He knows I'm waiting. But always talk about other works that you might have in progress too. If, at the bottom, you've got line, if you got that little line, I'm currently, exploring this, and this, or this is what I'm working on too, blah, blah, blah. If you think that it is a series, put it down that it's a series. Let people know that too. Um, Kind of let them see the vision that you have for your own work. I think that that's important too. All right, guys, any last minute questions before I close out the podcast this afternoon? I try to keep them around 30 minutes. It's 25 minutes. Did pretty good. I know I'm very happy to see you guys in the chat today. Yep, we are having our event tonight. We have an August an August back to school bash. Sam's birthday's in August. We were talking his birthday a while ago. That's coming up in August. We'll be planning events every month. Thank you for Stephanie Henson for that great idea earlier too, by the way. All right. Stephanie said it was helpful for her. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. This is our Jen Lowry Show. This is our podcast where we interview authors, where we talk about writing tips, publishing world, Monarch books. It's all of those things right here. So if you've not subscribed, I'd love for you to follow today and share it out with all of your writer friends so we can continue to get the word out about Monarch. I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed day. And I'll see those that have tickets tonight. All right. Bye, guys.